Hello, loved ones. So let's pretend that you died. And the very second after you died, you kind of come to and you take off a VR headset and you're thinking, wow, whew, that was kind of crazy. How long was I out for? And then the people around you say, oh, you were gone for like 2 hours, but you lived like an 80-year lifetime or something. Would you feel like that made this any less authentic? Uh, would you feel like that made your experience here artificial? Because it kind of would be, but but what you've learned here and the everything you've gained here and the relationships that you formed, those are with other people who are also in the sim. I'm not saying that's what I think this is. I'm not saying it's not either. That's not the point of this. Because there's a lot of things, because I'm a very spiritual person, and there's a lot of things that we learn here in this lifetime, in this experience that we're having. And I believe it's for our growth. It's so that we can, um, I guess, maybe graduate up or whatever. But it's an experience so that we can grow from it. But if we were to find that it was artificial, that we were plugged into via, say, our central nervous system or whatever, that this avatar was plugged in and our real self is outside, basically driving this avatar. But then I know that people would think, well, if that were the case, then I would know it. No, not particularly. Because this brain and yourself, your higher self, are not the same thing. The brain is like a processor. That's not where your actual thoughts, your actual personality, that's not where any of that actually comes from. All of that comes from your field. What we refer to as your field, your higher self, or the you that's jacked into this simulation. Like I said, I'm not saying that this is what I think is going on. I'm just kind of pondering the question of would it make this experience any less authentic? Really? Because anything that's authentic is not fake, is real. So therefore, if we found that this was artificial, then it would kind of by definition not be authentic. But would your experience and your growth, that would be authentic. And in fact, it would be a very efficient way to gain experience and grow. If you could live an 80-year lifetime in a span of 2 hours, because of time dilation, it can happen. In fact, like I've said before in the podcast, we humans today run simulations all the time. We run simulations to predict weather patterns. We run simulations to predict what the sun's going to do with sunspots and, what is it, solar flares and things like that. I'm not going to get into my belief system there, but, whatever. We run simulations for those things. For meteors, big boulders flying through space. Maybe they're on an orbit and may come into close proximity with the Earth. We run simulations, say over the, just kind of fast forward it out for 100 years to determine whether or not can that asteroid hit the planet at any point in the next 100 years or whatever. And it may take 5 minutes to run that simulation. But we just crammed 100 years into that 5 minutes. for the purpose of determining what that asteroid is going to do over the next 100 years. Now, is this the same thing? No. It would take a much higher level of technology to do what I'm talking about. But we're already on the verge of that. Look at this whole meta thing with the VR headsets and stuff. People are talking about now where they are going to start beginning socializing that way, interacting with other people in that way, sitting at home on their couch, having human interactions with other people, with their friends. So my question is, if you were to pass away, and in the moment after you pass, you come to, and take off a VR headset, and then realize, whoa, all that was just in this big server here. Would that make it feel cheap to you? Would it make it feel less real, less authentic? I say it wouldn't. Like I say, it would be a very efficient way of gaining experience and gaining growth. You know, it could just be another day at the office to you. Each day you go in, you punch the time clock, you go, you jack into the system. Today you're Matt Stevens. At the end of your shift, Matt Stevens dies, and you come out and you share your experience, or whatever you've learned, or whatever the case may be, whatever the purpose is. So, just something I think that would be good to ponder, because simulation theory is getting to be very big, and there's getting to be a lot of evidence supporting it. Things with the Mandela effect and, all that. We can go down a lot of rabbit holes here. But that's all. Just kind of ponder that question. How would that make you feel about your lifetime and what you did if you found out that's what it was? Anyway, please like and subscribe to this channel. My podcast is My Sober Addiction. It's an audio podcast. I am starting to do more video now, and and I need some subscribers so we can then do live streams and things. It'll be a lot of fun. We can probably get into some pretty good discussions. So, anyway, please hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate it, and I will. Oh, and I love you, and I'll be back directly.